Hello Internet, we're back in Factorio. Last episode I mentioned that it was probably maybe time to start thinking about artillery. And, I mean, yes, that's technically true, and yes, it is kind of like, you know, one of the things that we could research at this point, because there's not many things left. But I was thinking about what the actual goal of this map is, and it's mainly this. It's mainly making green circuits. I did say that one of the goals was to win, but I could pretty much just build the rocket silo and win at any time at this point. In like probably under an hour, I could probably get that factory up and get a rocket done. So that is not really like the main goal. And artillery is nice, but it's also not like super necessary at the moment because the enemies aren't hassling me too badly. What is kind of necessary is to significantly upgrade all the circuit productions. So what I probably want to do is basically copy this factory, and it'll probably fit down here underneath it. We'll extend a train line down where I left the gap. Or maybe to the right. No, I think we'll go downwards. Copy this factory, build it again, but this time make a slightly differently balanced version of this factory, because the whole point of this massive factory was that it can theoretically output an entire belt's worth of each of the... well, not each of the circuits. It can output as much circuits as it can make from the input of each type. That's still not a very good way of phrasing it. But that's why this is so gigantic in terms of red circuits, even though we haven't even plugged that in, and it's probably never even going to use all of that capacity even once it is plugged in. But instead, if all we're looking to do is consume the resources as fast as possible in making as many green circuits as possible, I should be able to redesign the factory to be much slimmer in terms of, like, it should be nearly as many red circuits and blue circuits to convert, and we'll still be outputting modules at the end, but with a much smaller footprint so it can be more easily copy-pasted several times, and I can probably beacon it as well, although that might mean I'll have to significantly redesign all these factories so that I can actually fit beacons in. But yeah, if we do that, we should be able to significantly increase the actual output of green circuits that this map is making, since that's kind of the whole point. Okay, well the bots up here are done, so let's set up all the necessary... how many do I need? 24. Yes, so now I will also need to move one of these and take my construction robots out of it. So hopefully we should be able to significantly upgrade all the production and just generally output more would be the ideal plan. And then as necessary we can think about the artillery. Because, I mean, theoretically when production goes up, pollution should go up, but we should have such a gigantic reduction in pollution without the coal power plant that will probably offset it for quite a while. Okay, let's just paste this in. Okay, now we need the train stations to be linked to the logistics network rather than the circuit network, because that's what I should have been doing in the first place. Oh, I mean, not for this station, I guess. Circuit is less than... iron is less than 2,000. Okay, yep, that's off. Copper... and coal. Don't know if 2,000 is too low. Yeah, maybe we'll bump that to 8,000 like I did with the iron. Wait, hang on a minute, did that not take? Oh no, it's connected to both, that's right. I need to disable it off the circuit network. And then change the logistics setting to 8,000 instead. No, I'm out of stack inserters. That's why those didn't get built. Actually I might completely disconnect these train stations from the circuit connections entirely, because then that panel shouldn't even show up, right? Yes, that's better. Okay, and now we do the outputs. I'll probably move that radar because we'll want that somewhere else. This actually needs to be 2 belts going to copper, not 1 as I've got it laid out like. And we need to paste in the rest of the... No, that's the railway booklet. Rest of the furnaces. I never did update this blueprint to have the efficiency modules in either, which I really should have done. Okay, so that should be as far as this belt goes, so this one doesn't need this. Nope, that's not even right, is it? Okay, like that. Okay, and let's slightly move this one. Okay, so now we should be able to set up the actual outputs. I forget how much this actually needs to be. How big does this coal belt actually need to be? It uses 1 per second. And we we've got how many? 24. So that needs to be a red belt, technically. Although again, unlikely to ever actually use that capacity. And then circuits, I guess we can run into the logistics network as well, if we want. I might not bother though, I might just leave those on the belts, because that's plenty fast enough to load that train up. Well, no, we'll leave it for now. Coal. I guess we'll shove them as far up as possible, more or less. This one will be iron. And then 2 for copper. Which I guess one of them can face this way and one of them can face the other way. Well, maybe. Screw it, we'll do it facing upwards. Copper. Oh, except that's going to also get in the way of the thing. That's fine. I don't know if those are going to need to be stacked or not. I guess we can just run it for a while and see how well it goes. Logistics bots. Yep, they're going to need to be stacked. With only 4 arms. So I'm going to need to go back over to the other base and grab some of those. And also some more roboports, because this many bots is not going to be able to resupply off that many roboports. Okay, so let's go do that. And then we can plug it all in, upgrade all the belts, and we'll be pretty much good for this factory. Okay, well, I guess there's not much else to say at this point, so I might as well jump straight into the sped up footage a little bit quicker for this episode. And we'll see what I managed to get done in 2 hours. Hopefully, building a whole another chunk of that factory. Maybe some more mines, because I'm going to need more trains anyway. And then when I come back, that will be the point where maybe we think about getting artillery, possibly. We'll see how the pollution cloud has gone. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. And I'm back. If you were paying particular attention to the end of that sped up footage, you may have noticed that incredibly predictably after I said, oh, there's no reason to keep the coal power up, I completely don't need that any longer at all. Predictably, I'd screwed up my circuit network conditions for the fueling of the reactors, and my power went down. But I think I've got it right this time, probably. But we'll keep an eye on that. And then in the meantime of that last 2 hours, mainly I've just been upgrading production a lot. Mainly, I mean, I went through and did all the belts and connected up all the extra circuits and unlimited all the chests of the modules so that this factory is just using as much resources as it possibly can. But then I've also had to be going around and building new mines. I also put speed modules in all these ones so we can finally maybe clear that up. So yes, I made a new iron mine, I made a new copper mine, or well, sort of. It's the same copper mine technically. Looks like I'm probably going to need another iron mine because it's not keeping up very well. Copper is more or less caught up. And I'm also thinking I might need to actually do a better enable condition on this. Because as you can see, I don't know why that train stopped there. Oh, because of the signalling. As you can see, these copper trains, I've got it set to... what have I got it set to? Less than 24,000. So as soon as it goes below 24,000, all the trains come in. And theoretically, there's 24,000's worth of storage in the trains. So if the storage was completely empty, all the trains would unload. But that's not how that works, of course, because as soon as it goes under 24,000, the first train arrives, and then if the base isn't using as much as the trains can supply, then it never goes down very far below 24,000, so all the other trains just go through. So what I really need to do is change this to basically a latch, make it so that when it goes below, say, 8,000, it calls the trains until it goes above 24,000, and then it turns off the trains. So that way it will at least empty all the trains that will turn up on the first run. In fact, yeah, that should probably work. So that may be an idea. And then apart from that, well, I was just thinking again about, do I need to get onto artillery? Because considering I am actually going to need to, even to supply just this much circuits, I'm already using more or less all the mineral fields that are inside my base, apart from this one copper over here. So if I want to add another iron, I'm going to need to go out to probably one of those two. Yeah, probably one of those two. I guess we don't know if there's any over here. I should probably put down a radar. Probably this one would be ideal. So it's not that far to extend a train line across over here, and there's also some oil. But if I'm going to start clearing out biters again, I may as well get artillery online. Because that will just make things a bit quicker and easier. And presumably, even though thus far it's been totally fine in terms of oil throughput into this, even when it's running at maximum, which obviously it's never actually running at maximum because this red circuit belt never actually is a full belt's worth of red circuits going out. But presumably I am going to need to actually, deliver oil from elsewhere at some point when we get this second. Well, I guess I could connect up those crude oil from the bottom and maybe merge it from the top as well. That'll probably work. And I also had a problem with the uranium train where it wasn't actually stopping to unload because the sulfuric station was using circuit conditions to control the pump. It was also transmitting the contents of the train to the network. So the train was looking at the network when it was about to leave the station, seeing that it had a full load and therefore not going to unload, even though the full load that it was seeing was in itself. So I turned that off and it's fine. The pump control was really kind of unnecessary anyway. And honestly, I could probably not even pump control that at all and just fill the uranium, fill the sulfuric as full as the whole tank, and it wouldn't really matter. Sulfuric isn't expensive or anything really. And I'm currently doing mining productivity 3 in research, which, I mean, once that's done, we'll get onto artillery, I suppose. We'll just queue that up. So we better start making a factory to make explosives, which is what this one extra belt over here is for. I'm not carrying any chemical plants. I also added a couple more factories in amongst here to do roboports, oil refineries, chemical plants, beacons. So those are all ready for future upgrades. And apart from the bit where the power collapsed, it's been going perfectly fine. We've been using gradually more. It's mostly roboports, and of course a ton of electric furnaces and drills. I should probably get around to finishing off all the furnaces in the base at some point. But the base isn't really doing all that much. Even with research going, it's still not really even impacting those belts virtually at all. Okay, so what do we need for explosives? It's coal, it's sulfur, and it's water. So it's pretty much just take these two belts, put them together, and then just pump out explosives. Is there an easy way to do that? I mean, we could maybe merge them right here and move plastic across or sulfur across. So let's just copy paste this arrangement. It won't be attached to petroleum, it will be attached to water, but it's more or less exactly the same. And the water pipe is this one. Now, do we move plastic inwards or do we move sulfur outwards? Let's move plastic inwards, I guess. It's probably going to be kind of ugly with all the splitters and undergrounds, but that's probably fine. Okay, split the coal, split the sulfur, and then merge those two into one belt over here. Probably about there will work. Okay, and that should be making explosives. Let's just wait to see if it does. And also I should check what the speed is. 2 items in 4 seconds. Yeah, that'll be plenty fast enough with just regular inserters. Okay, good. And I can also finally get rid of these explosives that have been sitting around in my inventory forever. And this is where it's going to get ugly. I guess I should do it like this, even though that's going to look weird. Yeah, maybe not like that. Damn it, I'm going to have to pick up all those explosives again. We'll just run it down the outside and it'll be fine. It doesn't matter if there's a gap up here. Okay, that'll get explosives going. We might actually want quite a bit more than that. So let's just copy all this again and just put another duplicate of it up here. We'll need to adjust this. Let me just copy it without that. And then we can put that little kink back in here instead. So it's halfway along the line. Okay, good. Even that might not be enough, considering how many explosives we're going to need, because we're going to need to make artillery shells, which, if I remember rightly, require explosive tank shells? Yeah, and explosives. So that's 16 explosives per one artillery shell. Not that you necessarily use artillery shells that much, but I might also actually want, you know, explosive cannon rounds, possibly even explosive rockets for once we actually get to Spidertron. I wonder if I can I just duplicate that and flip it around? Probably. Then I wouldn't even have to have that kink, I could just have it just be straight. Yeah, let's just do that. I don't have enough chemical plants on me. Although actually I want these pipes connected on the other side, don't I? Keep the gap as best we can. I've ended up dumping coal into my maw. Don't want that. And I was also thinking I might actually set the bots loose on just doing some concrete, since I do tend to run around quite a lot inside the base. Okay, that should probably be enough explosives. Maybe too much. Okay, so where are we going to make these things and what exactly are they made of again? Explosives. Cannon shells are explosives and plastic. And steel, right, yes, and then radars. Iron gears and circuits. So we can probably fit that in just up here somewhere. Because there's no... doesn't need to go past where the engines or batteries are being made. So we can probably fit that into this gap. And it will still be close enough to my maw that I could probably even link it into that logistics zone. Well, I mean, obviously at some point I was meant to have the logistics zone cover the whole bus, but turns out I maybe didn't need more than one more, like I thought I would. Okay, so let's make... well, also, I guess the other thing we need to think about is if we're going to do an artillery train, where do we want to load the artillery shells? Because we could just put them on a belt, or we could bring a rail line up to it. Like maybe once this is all mined out, we'll take this rail line, run it up the back, and have that be the artillery loading station. That wouldn't be a terrible idea, because you can't really run one down through all my oil stuff. So coming up from below would probably be fine. And the bus probably isn't going to get much longer than this. There's going to be the 3 different parts of the rocket. It's probably all that's going to be down the end of that. So let's make a theoretical layout for the parts. So I have to keep going and look at this because we don't have unlocked it yet. So it's radar, explosive camp shells, and explosives going into the thing. So radar and explosive camp shells and explosives. And how fast is the artillery shell? 1 in 15 seconds. Radars are super fast as you can supply the materials, more or less. These are 1 in 8, and you need 4, so you're going to need about 2 factories, slightly more than 2 factories. But I might just put them onto a belt anyway, because then I can box them up in case I want to use them in the tank at some point. Which I don't know if I will, because the artillery will probably take care of the biters for most of the remaining time, and then maybe Spidertron will take over, so I might not actually end up using the tank. So maybe I won't actually put them on a belt, maybe I will just maybe do it with a direct insertion from across the other side. No, not like that. You want it touching this. Because then we can have... Oh no, that's not quite going to work either, is it? No, let's just do it side to side. Direct insertion, that will work. Oh, who's out of storage space now? Oh, right, yes. Wait. Why are all my radars off? Has my power buggered up again? It totally has. Damn it, I thought I fixed that. What are you doing, reactors? Why haven't you inserted the fuel? Oh, it's because I haven't actually... when I rebuilt this, I didn't actually connect the wire. Wow, that's a good one. And now we watch this inserter very, very slowly pick up the fuel using the just remaining scraps of steam that are still in the system. And this is a good reason to not immediately have changed over to full lasers. Because otherwise I'd be totally defenseless. No, well that hasn't actually worked, has it? Because now they're still putting more fuel in. Although I think if I take that out it will be okay. Okay, so let me just check this logic one more time before we end this episode. So it inserts the fuel, it pulses the one green signal, and that goes from here into this storage combinator and then into the green, which is currently showing as 0, as it should. Let's just check that wire is actually linked up. Yes, it is. Okay. So then when the fuel runs out, it takes it out, that outputs a -1 on the green channel, which makes this makes the signal -1, which makes that output green. So then green and white should cause it to input the next fuel. Then it will output 1, which will bring it back to 0, and that should work. Hopefully. Okay, well, I guess I had better end the episode, because this may be a bit of a long one. I had a slightly longer bit of sped up footage and slightly longer bit at the start. So let's put the end card up. This research is about to finish. Maybe you'll hear that while the end card's up. There's the Facebook, there's the Twitter to inform you about our podcast, which is uploaded to the website and a variety of other places you can get podcasts from. And our YouTube channel is where you're presumably watching this video, for liking and subscribing and commenting and all the other YouTube interactions that are required. And that's it from me for another episode of Factorio.